Nobody ruins a trip by picking the wrong place. They ruin it by picking the wrong month. A road buried in snow in April becomes the drive of a lifetime in July, while a town that feels abandoned in November is almost unrecognizable in February. Timing changes everything, so instead of ranking destinations, this guide follows the calendar month by month, showing you exactly where to go, where to stay, what to eat, and what makes each place worth visiting at that particular time of year. But before we begin, here's something to keep an eye out for. One destination on this list welcomes a very unusual visitor every December, one that travels more than 3,000 miles to get there and doesn't eat a single thing during its entire stay. Leave your guess in the comments, and we'll reveal the answer when we reach December. January kicks off in Fairbanks, Alaska, where aurora season is at its peak and the long Arctic nights create some of the best northern lights viewing anywhere in the world. Fairbanks sits directly beneath the auroral oval, the band where the lights appear most often, making it one of the most reliable places on Earth to witness the phenomenon. Base yourself at Chena Hot Springs Resort, about an hour northeast of town. The resort has been welcoming visitors since 1905, when two prospector brothers discovered the geothermal springs while searching for relief from rheumatism. Spend the evening soaking in naturally heated outdoor pools while snow gathers around you, then ride a snow coach to higher ground for an even better chance of seeing the aurora. Before you leave, stop by the famous ice museum, where even the cocktail glasses are carved entirely from ice. Back in Fairbanks, try reindeer sausage at the historic Pump House restaurant on the Chena River, then book a dog sled adventure to experience one of Alaska's oldest traditions. Pack for temperatures well below freezing, stay at least 3 nights, and remember that cloud cover, not weak solar activity, is usually what keeps travelers from seeing the lights. For February, there's no better place than New Orleans, where Mardi Gras transforms the city into one giant celebration weeks before Fat Tuesday. Since the date changes every year, the festivities usually fill February with colorful parades, marching bands, elaborate floats, and non-stop street parties. This is exactly when New Orleans comes alive, and why it's far more rewarding than visiting during the sweltering summer months. Stay at the historic Hotel Monteleone in the French Quarter, home to the famous carousel bar that slowly rotates while you sip your drink. Start your mornings with powdered sugar-covered beignets at Café du Monde, then spend the day working your way through gumbo, jambalaya, and a classic shrimp po' boy. Some visitors even insist you'll never find a better beignet anywhere else. Because Mardi Gras is one of the busiest events of the year, book your hotel at least 6 months in advance. Don't leave without trying a slice of king cake, available only between January 6th and Mardi Gras Day. For a more family-friendly parade experience, head to the Garden District before exploring the lively French Quarter after dark. When March arrives, head to Washington, D.C., where spring officially begins with one of America's most beautiful natural displays. Around 3,000 cherry trees surrounding the tidal basin burst into bloom, turning the waterfront into a sea of soft pink. Originally gifted by Japan in 1912, the trees remain the centerpiece of the National Cherry Blossom Festival every spring. Walk the tidal basin early in the morning before the crowds arrive, then spend the rest of the day exploring iconic landmarks like the Lincoln Memorial and the Smithsonian Museums, all of which are free to visit. If you're looking for a memorable stay, book a room at the Hay Adams, where some rooms overlook the White House. Before leaving the city, grab a legendary half smoke from Ben's Chili Bowl, a Washington institution for more than half a century. After sunset, revisit the National Mall to see the monuments beautifully illuminated with far fewer visitors around. Since peak bloom shifts each year slightly depending on the weather, keep an eye on the official bloom forecast before booking non-refundable travel. And skip the rental car. The metro is by far the easiest way to get around during festival season. April is the perfect time to experience Charleston, South Carolina, when colorful gardens are in full bloom, the azaleas are putting on a show, and the sticky summer humidity is still weeks away. It's one of the few times of year when you can comfortably explore this historic city on foot. Start your day strolling along the Battery, admire the pastel homes of Rainbow Row, then tour Magnolia Plantation and Gardens before catching the ferry to Fort Sumter, where the Civil War began. Stay at the elegant Planters Inn on Market Street, just steps from Charleston City Market. When it comes to food, don't miss shrimp and grits, rich she crab soup, and fresh oysters if you happen to catch a local roast. Spring is also festival season, with events like the Cooper River Bridge Run bringing energy to the city. Take a horse-drawn carriage through the historic district, browse the boutiques along King Street, and make dinner reservations well in advance because Charleston's best restaurants fill up quickly during April. By May, it's time to make your way to to Sedona, Arizona, where warm days and cool evenings create ideal conditions for exploring the famous Red Rock landscape. Visit any later in the summer, and triple-digit temperatures can make even short hikes exhausting. Start early with Cathedral Rock or Devil's Bridge before the crowds and heat arrive, then spend the afternoon driving through Oak Creek Canyon before ending the day with sunset views from Airport Mesa. Stay at L'Auberge de Sedona beside Oak Creek or Enchantment Resort tucked into Boynton Canyon for an unforgettable desert escape. After dark, don't rush back inside. Sedona is an international dark sky community, making stargazing part of the experience. Before you leave, grab dinner at the famous Elote Cafe, and if you'd rather skip the hiking, take a pink Jeep tour across the rugged backcountry. Just remember to hit the trails before 8 in the morning to beat both the heat and the parking rush. June takes us to the Oregon coast, just as the spring fog begins to lift and before the busiest weeks of summer arrive. It's one of the best times to drive Highway 101 with longer daylight hours and comfortable temperatures for exploring the coastline. Start in Cannon Beach, where Haystack Rock becomes even more impressive at low tide as colorful tide pools emerge around its base. Continue south through Akola State Park for sweeping coastal views before making your way toward Newport. Along the drive, stop at the Tillamook Creamery for fresh cheese, ice cream, and one of Oregon's favorite road trip traditions. Stay at the Stephanie Inn in Cannon Beach for oceanfront views, then enjoy fresh Dungeness crab or a bowl of clam chowder overlooking the Pacific. Even in June, pack a fleece and a rain jacket because Oregon's weather changes quickly, and always check the tide charts before planning a beach hike or tide pooling adventure. When July rolls around, head for the San Juan Islands, Washington, where peak orca season offers some of the best whale watching in North America. The nutrient-rich waters of the Salish Sea attract salmon every summer, and the salmon attract orcas, humpbacks, minkies, and gray whales. Catch the ferry to Friday Harbor before joining a half-day whale watching cruise, many of which report success rates above 90% during the season. One traveler even described spotting bald eagles, a humpback whale, and what they jokingly called a tea party of orcas on a single trip. If you'd rather stay on land, Lime Kiln Point State Park is one of the world's best shore-based whale watching locations. Stay at Friday Harbor House overlooking the marina, feast on fresh oysters and Dungeness crab, then spend the afternoon kayaking or cycling around the island. If you're bringing a car, reserve your ferry weeks in advance because summer sailings fill quickly, although walking onto the ferry is usually much easier. August is all about Pictured Rocks, Michigan, when Lake Superior is finally warm enough to swim and kayak beneath some of the most colorful cliffs in the Midwest. The sandstone shoreline stretches for more than 15 miles, painted in striking bands of orange, green, black, and rust by centuries of mineral seepage. The best way to appreciate the scale is from the water. Take a boat cruise departing from Munising for panoramic views of the towering cliffs, or book a guided kayak tour that weaves through sea caves, natural arches, and hidden coves. On land, hike to Miners Castle for one of the park's signature overlooks, then continue to Chapel Rock and Chapel Beach if you're looking for a longer adventure. While you're here, don't leave without trying a traditional Upper Peninsula pasty, the hearty meat pie brought here by Cornish miners generations ago. Munising serves as the main gateway to the park, but accommodations are limited, so reserve your hotel early or consider staying about 40 minutes away in Marquette. Also keep in mind that Lake Superior makes its own rules. Kayak trips are frequently canceled when the waves become too rough. Before we head into the final stretch of the year, here's a quick question. Which month on this list would you book right now? Let me know in the comments. As September arrives, make your way to the Maroon Bells outside Aspen, Colorado, where the first hints of autumn transform entire mountainsides into brilliant shades of gold. The famous Twin Peaks reflected in Maroon Lake have become one of the most photographed landscapes in North America, and it's easy to see why. The best time to visit is shortly after sunrise, when the lake is calm enough to mirror the mountains almost perfectly. Since vehicle access is restricted during peak season, reserve the shuttle ahead of time instead of planning to drive yourself. If you have extra time, continue over Independence Pass while it's still open before winter. Weather closes it for the season. Stay at the historic Hotel Jerome in downtown Aspen, which has welcomed travelers since 1889. One thing many visitors underestimate is the elevation. Most of the trails begin above 9,000 feet, so spend your first day taking it easy. Drink more water than you think you need, and let your body adjust before attempting longer hikes. October belongs to Vermont when the fall colors reach their peak and nearly every road looks like it belongs on a postcard. Rolling hills, covered bridges, white church steeples, and blazing maple forests make this one of America's classic autumn road trips. Drive Route 100 from north to south, stopping in small towns like Stowe and Woodstock along the way. If you're feeling adventurous, hike Mount Mansfield or take the gondola for sweeping views over the colorful valleys below. Every bend in the road offers another perfect photo opportunity. Stay at the Woodstock Inn for a classic New England experience, then spend your days sampling sharp Vermont cheddar, fresh cider donuts, maple syrup, and locally made apple cider. Before finalizing your trip, check a live foliage tracker because peak color changes slightly every year depending on weather conditions. Weekend traffic can be heavy during leaf season, so early mornings are your best friend. By November, Big Bend, Texas is at its absolute best, with cooler temperatures finally making it comfortable to explore one of America's most remote national parks. The summer heat has faded, the monsoon season has ended, and visitor numbers drop dramatically, giving the landscape a peaceful, almost untouched feel. Hike the Lost Mine Trail for panoramic mountain views, then continue into Santa Elena Canyon, where towering limestone walls rise nearly 1,500 feet above the Rio Grande. Afterward, relax in the historic Riverside Hot Springs before the sun sets. Stay at Chizos Mountains Lodge, the only hotel located inside the national park. Once darkness falls, look up. Big Bend is home to some of the darkest night skies in the lower 48 states, making stargazing every bit as memorable as the hiking. If you're visiting in early November, take a short detour to nearby Terlingua, where the famous chili cook-offs bring the old mining town to life. Because the park is incredibly remote, fill your gas tank whenever you have the chance, download offline maps before arriving, and carry more water than you think you'll need. Cell service is almost non-existent throughout much of the park. And for December, there's no better finale than Kauai, Hawaii. It's also time to answer the question from the beginning of the video. Every December, humpback whales arrive in Hawaiian waters after swimming more than 3,000 miles from Alaska, a non-stop journey that takes between 4 and 8 weeks. They come here to breed and give birth in the warm, protected waters, but here's the incredible part. They don't eat the entire time they're here. Instead, they survive on the blubber they built up during months of feeding in Alaska. Every winter, somewhere between 10 and 12,000 humpback whales make this migration, representing nearly half of the North Pacific population. That means your December trip comes with front row seats to one of nature's greatest migrations, alongside some of Hawaii's most spectacular scenery. Explore the breathtaking Na Pali coast, wander through Waimea Canyon, often called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, and spend time relaxing around Hanalei Bay before the holiday crowds fully arrive. For accommodations, stay on the North Shore near Hanalei if dramatic scenery is your priority, or choose Poipu on the South Shore for drier weather and more consistent sunshine. While you're there, sample fresh poke, enjoy a traditional Hawaiian plate lunch, and cool off with shave ice. If you're feeling adventurous, hike part of the legendary Kalalau Trail or take a boat tour beneath the towering Na Pali cliffs, the only way to appreciate much of the coastline's incredible beauty. Try to book your trip before mid-December, as hotel prices rise sharply closer to Christmas. Winter swells also make the North Shore spectacular to photograph, while the South Shore generally offers calmer weather and better beach conditions. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love this next one.